What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, before I get into this video, as always, I want to remind you guys that if you're watching this video, you're not subscribed to Too Raw for TV, please subscribe to Too Raw for TV. If you haven't done so already, also make sure you hit that bell, turn it blue, all right, to make sure that you'll be notified of any video and every video that I drop on this channel. And also, if you appreciate and or like this content, please hit like. It's not only just for my channel, but I also advise you to do this for other channels in the LDBC because YouTube has certain things they do now in their algorithm to suppress smaller channels, especially as far as our views. Not nearly as many people get notifications as they used to. All right. So, having said that, in this video, I want to talk about the rise of the black quarterback in the NFL. All right. There's been a tremendous explosion in the number of black quarterbacks, particular starting quarterbacks in the NFL. All right. When I was a kid growing up, I mean, you always had some black quarterbacks. A long mainstay was Warren Moon, but then Houston Oilers. Now, of course, they're the Tennessee Titans. And Warren Moon was one of the best passers in the history of the NFL. And if I'm not mistaken, if you combine the Canadian Football League and the NFL, which they never really did because they wanted Dan Marino to hold that mark. But if you combine the two leagues, Warren Moon was for a long time the all-time leading North American passing leader. I noticed that they only do that really now that all these other quarterbacks have surpassed Warren Moon's numbers. But Warren Moon, in my opinion, was arguably the best pure passer in the NFL. But like I said, you always had a Warren Moon, you had a Randall Cunningham, you had a Cordell Stewart, then you had a Donovan McNabb, you had a Steve McNair, may he rest in peace. Mike Vick was just a revolutionary football player. Uh, I think he's still the fastest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. All right, but these were just a handful. It was never a tremendous amount of black quarterbacks. That position, the quarterback position, has always been historically dominated, and I mean dominated by white males. And generally speaking, is because of the fact that, and I'm just going to be honest, certain people, all right, certain people who uh, watch football and certain people in football have always had a mindset that black people just aren't intelligent enough to play a position, that we don't have the thinking power, all right, the ability to strategize to be successful at that position. Of course, we all know that's absolute 100% bullshit, all right, but that has always been an ideology that has been uh, a stain in sports, man. No matter what sport you're looking at, whether you're talking about boxing, we're all aware of after Jack Johnson dominated the heavyweight division from 1908 to 1915, they hounded the man, trying to, put this man in jail because he liked to fuck white women. All right. And shout out to John McCain, may he rest in peace. All right. One thing I will say about Trump, even though he's a piece of shit and a racist, he did pardon Jack Johnson, something that Barack Obama was too cowardly to do during his administration. You know, uh, but for some reason, I don't know why Barack Obama was so cowardly to do that. And that's why I look at him in a different light than I did 10 years ago. Because I look at, maybe this ain't the right video for that, man, but I look at his daughter and who she's dating, and I really strongly believe Barack Obama has a problem with black males in America. I mean, if you ever watch Barack Obama and how he interacts with black males, he's always sort of lecturing and, you know, I just don't. I don't know. Fuck him. But yeah, you had this situation with Jack Johnson, um, where for 20 years after his reign, black fighters were barred from fighting for the heavyweight championship. And then even when Joe Louis was able to do it, he had to shuck and jive and coon, scratch his head when it didn't itch, look down, and never celebrate when he knocks down or knocks out an opponent. He couldn't gloat after victory. He had to do make these ridiculous uh, contractual uh, agreements. So basically, he was robbed of a lot of his money. He had to be the all-American patriotic coon, and it got him nowhere in the end. What I'm saying? Except for destitute, you know, and broke with dementia. That's why I appreciate Muhammad Ali so much, man. He flipped the script with all of that shit, man. Um, but most notoriously in Major League Baseball, it was most notorious in Major League Baseball that we saw uh, segregation and bigotry and racism. I mean, it was the worst. It was the worst. Supposedly, in the very early days of baseball, there were black players, but one infamous day back in the 1880s, the so-called legendary Cap Anson took the field, saw a black player, and yelled, "Get that nigger off the field!" And then he and other like-minded hillbilly segregationist good old boys, crackers, decided they didn't want any black players to compete against anymore. And for about 60 years, Major League Baseball had an unwritten rule that there would be no black players to be selected to play for any Major League Baseball team. Not until Branch Rickey broke that tradition with Jackie Robinson. And we saw the stress and what that did to Jackie Robinson, a finely tuned athlete who was stressed so badly that he prematurely developed diabetes at the age of 28, and I think he was 28 when he was diagnosed with diabetes. No. Was he 28? I think he was. No, he was older than that. I think he was in his mid 30s when he was diagnosed with diabetes. And when he died at the age of 53, he looked like he was 73 or 83. All right. The NBA hasn't been as bad. You know what I'm saying? I think we saw the first black players in the 1950s. So that's why, I rocks with and I fucks with the NBA. But even the NFL, man, the NFL has had a fucked up past. In the early days of the NFL, there were black players, but starting in the 1930s, for a 20-year period of time, black players were banned from the NFL by the same group of good old boy, tobacco chewing crackers who, for some reason, felt as though they didn't have to compete and didn't want to compete against black players. You know what I'm saying? I think it's that they felt like they couldn't compete. But for whatever reason, we were banned. And then when we were allowed back in the 1950s, it was usually in grunt work position, workhorse positions, offensive line, defensive positions. You know what I'm saying? Basically because of the fact that they said, okay, well, we'll compete with them. We'll play with them, but we could never have one as a quarterback. And mostly because they felt like we were subhuman. We didn't have the mental capacity to play the quarterback position. And that's the truth. All right. People can sit there and get mad and, oh no, it wasn't that. It was no, it was because they felt like we was too fucking stupid to play that position. Okay. Which we proven time and time again to be absolute bullshit. Okay. But when you look now at 2019, this has truly been the year of the black quarterback. I mean, you look at the list, man. You see, even though he's injured, of course, you have Cam Newton. All right, might have a suspect private life, but you have Cam Newton, although he's injured right now. All right, but you have Cam Newton. All right, you have Lamar Jackson, who's been just revolutionary with the Baltimore Ravens. You know what I'm saying? They have one of the best offenses in football. You have Kyler Murray. You have Dak Prescott, of course, with the Dallas Cowboys. A good old boys team if you ever saw one. You had Deshaun Watson. All right, you have Jacoby Brissett. You have Patrick Mahomes, who of course is having another stellar season after the unbelievable season that he had last year. You have right now, because of the injury due to Drew Brees, you have Teddy Bridgewater of the New Orleans Saints. All right, you know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. You have Russell Wilson, who already has a Super Bowl title. You know what I'm saying? Russell Wilson is doing his thing. You have Jameis Winston of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know what I'm saying? And you have so many other non-starting quarterbacks in the NFL. And there's truly going to be a changing of the guard at that position. All of the guys that have been the mainstays are either near the end of their careers or they're gone. I mean, you still have Tom Brady, but how much longer is he going to play? All right, Peyton Manning is gone. Ben Roethlisberger is injured. All right, and his future is iffy. Drew Brees, like I mentioned, is injured. All right, but his future, you know what I'm saying, how much longer is he going to play if, Andrew Luck is retired. Phillip Rivers is still there, but he's getting close to the end of his career. So there's going to be a change of the guard where the quarterback position, you're going to see guys like this who look like this more than that. And it's a beautiful thing. And I want to end this video on this note. I want to think, even though I know the two things aren't connected, I know that's not what he protested about. But I want to think, and it's one of the big reasons why I started watching the NFL again. I want to think that Colin Kaepernick's sacrifice, although I know that he kneeled for something far bigger than this. He kneeled because he was protesting the murder of unarmed black people, in particular black men, but in the wake of what happened in Dallas-Fort Worth, black people by police officers. A problem that's still going on today. See, they don't never want to acknowledge what we're actually doing. They never want to acknowledge the nobility of what we're doing because they don't care. They don't care about our issues. They only want us to care about their issues. All right? But I want to think that, like Curt Flood with baseball, I want to think Colin Kaepernick's sacrifice, which is basically being whiteballed from the NFL for doing, for the act he committed. He's going to be pretty much forever blackballed as far as getting a job is concerned. But I want to think that whatever the reaction was, be it white guilt, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe it's just a natural process of things. But the job that he's going to be denied in the NFL for the rest of his life open the doors for individuals like Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. And don't come to me with that, well, Patrick Mahomes is half. I don't want to hear that shit. Please look at his ass. He's black. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it, man. Tell me what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, you know what I'm saying? If you choose to, if you appreciate the content of this channel, if you're able to, if you want to donate to Too Raw for TV, you can do so in the links provided in the description box via below, the PayPal, the Cash App. But I much more prefer you guys go to the Patreon, sign up to the Patreon for only $2 per month. And on Patreon, you get the real raw, you get, the honest content. And I'm able to talk about stuff on the Patreon that I can't talk about on YouTube for obvious reasons, censorship and what have you. But if you're able to do so, I know you guys got a lot of things you're already paying for, a lot of things you're already subscribed to, but it's only $2 per month. You get the real spit, the real raw, too raw for TV.